I am a message in search of an audience. I've spoken on this topic in a variety of places: schools, business groups. The transport nurses at Children's Hospital brought me in to talk about the ethics of speech, because all these groups recognize that there's some power to what comes out of your mouth all day long. And the more you can do to understand how you speak, the better off you are. I speak on the topics that Keith mentioned, but this one topic, the ethics of speech, has more than any other topic influenced my life for the better. And so it started when I was the subject of gossip. It was something so hurtful, something so personal, and I'm not going to bring it up. But it threw me into several years of study on the topic, and I found out that there are great scholars on this very topic, and I bring you some of their teaching. I was inspired by that moment in my life, but also one moment when I got to my desk in the morning, and a thought crossed my mind, and it made me smile, and I thought, oh, that's funny. And I thought, well, wait, what was that thought? And I had to sort of rewind the tape and figure out what it was, and I realized, well, that's not funny. That was hurtful. It was some sort of homophobic rant that where did I hear that? Oh, I heard that on the morning radio show. And there I was laughing at it a little while later. And I thought, well, that's not funny. That's hurtful. And why am I laughing at it? And it made me think, more than anything else, that we talk about we are what we eat. And some might say that we are who we know, and we get together at Rotary. I believe that we are what we think. And I believe that what we think comes from what we hear. The words of others enter into our minds, and they become our thoughts. And what we hear comes from what we talk about. Here's an example. Well, I mean, we burn couches after we win football games. I'm not sure why, but if you just think of how that happens, no one of us could carry the couch outside. So somebody must have said to somebody else, hey, I've got a great idea. Let's burn this couch. And you know, there are other sort of influences that got that to make sense at that moment, and so they went out and did it. Action is always preceded by speech. As a trip to Honduras to do some good is preceded by the speech that we hear about, here's when it is, and here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to get out there and do it. Whether it's training employees or winning new customers, it always starts with speech. So I'll describe some of what I learned. I recognize, having talked with audiences about this before, that that's an uncomfortable topic. Anytime we talk about limits on speech, the idea that we live in this free country, we can say anything we want, we can, and I'm not for censorship. Actually, our freedom of speech only allows us to speak anything we want against the government, not against each other. We've often confused that. But there are limits, and there should be limits. And yet, anytime I mention this, people say, oh, well, we don't like limits on speech. People defend gossip. They say that anthropologically, there was a time when we sat around as monkeys picking the nits out of each other's hair. And this was a way that we built community. And this was how we shared. And this was a way of nitpicking that became the modern gossip. It's a defense of gossip. But there are other natural behaviors that we've chosen not to do. You know, we've decided they're socially unacceptable. Like potty training. You know, potty training is socially acceptable. It cures what's socially unacceptable. We've all given in to that. We don't pick our noses in public, except when we're driving. Right? But otherwise we've decided that's just not right. We've got speed limits. So there are rules. And the question comes, where do we draw the line?